All right. I think we're good.
I had a big segue for cross tag battle, but the conversation veered away.
It did.
So let's just talk about cross tag battle and how shit that shit is.
Well, I want to point out something that a lot of people miss on that story.
Yes.
Right? It is the one, like, slightly good thing you can bring up to kind of go like, oh, there's that.
Uh-huh.
The price point on the main release is cheaper than the average game.
Oh, how much is it?
It's a $50 game.
That's
not
not
enough.
cheap enough.
No.
It should 40. I would have gone. Okay.
It's a 50. Well, the equivalent in yen at least is calls it a $58 or $55 game or so.
Yeah.
I think it might end up working. They might end up like changing prices depending on how that balances out with exchanges. So it might like if there's a price point, that it drops to that's like a half price game, then it's like we're selling you the game for half price and then you're buying the rest as DLC. Might be what they're going for, depending on if that's what they do.
But why are they going for this at all?
All right. Well, before we do that, Wolves, you have an article.
40 in the U.S. 40 in the U.S.
You have an article in front of you. So before we get into this, what are the exact details of what we're talking about with cross tag battle here?
Yeah, sure. So let me just set things up properly here. So that's what we're being told. It's a $40 game in the U.S., which means that basically the DLC is being sold as the back half of the game almost.
That's weird.
Which kind of, if you kind of think about the explanation, like that's why, right? They're doing it in this kind of like egregious way. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle launches May 31st in Japan and Asia, June 5th in North America. Adds DLC characters such as Blake Belladonna. And alongside the announcement for Blake Belladonna from Ruby, you get the question mark
packs
of DLC characters sets 1 through 6 in packs of 3, which basically puts the total question marks at 19. So the game
there's a last one there. Okay,
that's the math.
But also, the question marks is 19, and then Belladonna
3, 6, 9, 12, 19, and then So there's 20 characters in the game revealed, and then it looks like you're going to have the rest in these DLC packs. And so that is more DLC characters than any other game. And the reason why is, of course, because the sprites already exist. They're pulling sprites from existing games. So the idea is basically we're selling you 20 fucking characters as DLC.
50% of the roster total.
Which feels and sounds awful.
It's crazy.
But it's not, like, when you think about it, it's like Street Fighter V or like Killer Instinct. It is kind of doing the same thing, but they go
over time.
This is going so much faster.
But they also do release Killer Instinct and Street Fighter V also have discs with those characters on them.
That's the problem. This is all about perception.
Yeah.
This is nothing like it's all just the perception of the news of dropping this, of telling people this is all the money you're going to spend. Because I remember when the Dragon Ball news was upsetting to people too, where it's like 8 character DLC. It's basically the moment you tell people this is how much money you're going to spend to get the full thing.
Yeah.
And people kind of are looking at it like, well, I want to own the full game. That's all like, it's not an option to certain people that like are like, I really want to play this and whatnot. So, dropping news like that about how there's 20 things to buy.
This is still crazy considering like these character, like the reason they can do it so fast is because the characters already exists.
Now,
already exists.
Yes. Now, guess what? Arxis is still shit when it comes to handling DLC characters. It's the worst thing it's the thing they're the worst at, which is just the greed level of like how they handle DLC in fighting games. I mean, it's never
crazy.
changing.
But that's why Dragon Ball is slightly different, though, because
it's still bad.
It's still bad, but at least it's done via Namco, so they can cut down on maybe some shit.
I have a couple of acquaintances that play BlazBlue, and talking to them about this is just the next level of the BlazBlue nightmare, which is buy the $8 DLC character. Okay, a month after that character comes out, the revision will drop that has the character included, and you need to get the revision.
Yeah.
And every time they drop a revision for BlazBlue, they say, this is the last one. Don't worry, guys. So you can buy the DLC characters, and it's fine. Because Chrono Phantasma was marketed as being the last version of BlazBlue.
But they had like 2 more after that.
I just had a conversation with a BlazBlue player that wants another one. So, like, you say that, but the people playing it are looking.
You're right, but it's in terms of buying. Like, if they knew, like, yes, if you're a dedicated player, you have to get all this as it comes out. But the way they stagger it is always in maximum fuck value. Like, it's terrible.
Effectively, when you're looking at the season of Street Fighter content coming out, each one was 1 character per month. In some cases, a second month went by with a gap. But for the most part, it was a very slow bleed that got us to the characters that we have currently. Same thing for KI. You know, you had that slow reveal character month by month. So that it's like, effectively, it doesn't feel like you're eating that wall of question marks.
And they never said, like, they never put a bunch of, well, no. They did have all the silhouettes, and for a while, Season 2 did have silhouettes in the character select screen, which I was never a fan of. Like, don't show me that.
But that's why it's always really hard to, like, sort of report on this story. And, reports, what am I, fucking game news now? Is that what we are? What am I saying?
We are doing a news
of
sequence.
Games.
Jesus.
A news move.
Forgive me.
We're doing news moves.
You know, like, as we're going into this, it's always, like, weird to sort of, like, read the story and then kind of look at it and go, yeah, everything here on paper is identical to things that people are fine with.
Or used to, at
least. It's
least.
just that the presentation of it is in the most infuriating manner because it makes everyone look and see all the money they're going to have to spend right away.
I would put it
outside of the box.
A different way, which is the average person that is not super familiar with the arcane ways that Arc System Works occasionally hides its DLC practices, gets to see this, and there's no obfuscation here.
This is the whole
you just
thing.
See it raw, and you get to go. Even me, who does know about BlazBlue, I see this and I go, oh, like, wow, it is. That's bad.
Well, and I think in general, like, we're still living in a world that, like, the introduction of DLC plans pre-launch makes people go, why can't you just put it in the thing? You know, it's still a feeling that, like, even though we know nowadays, especially from a production point of view, they'll be like, no, we've assigned a separate budget and a separate dev team to work on the separate content that'll be coming out later.
For DLC, I always felt like the best way to, like, handle this stuff, like, fighting games is different, but I always felt the best way where I'm like, no one, like, barely anyone gets mad at that is, like, sometimes how Ubisoft does it, not all the time, but like Far Cry, Blood Dragon. 6 months later, here's a standalone thing that is built on the engine that we're saving money and we're going to make a little bit of money hopefully on this.
Yep.
Here you go.
Yeah.
From Software always takes half completed design concepts and starts making them after the game ships and goes, here's your DLC. It's a level that we never had time for in the base game.
If it feels like an expansion pack, no one's going to have a problem with that.
But it's like hard for people to nail down the feel of expansion packs.
The feel of a Brood Wars is a good thing.
Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition is the fuel of a Brood Wars. Like that's how that's supposed to feel. So fine. This does not feel like a Brood Wars.
No, this feels like the Mona Lisa cut into little pieces.
Yes. It sure does.
That being said, with this game in particular...
But...
What?
Sorry. I didn't mean for that to be so loud. I was going to say, but the Mona Lisa being the masterpiece that it is... You know what I mean? Like, when I came in on this news...
Willie, you and I play cross tag battle, it's no Mona Lisa.
That's what I'm trying to say. Right. Is when I came in on this news, and I remember the headline on our subreddit was kind of like, something about, like, I think Arc dropping the ball or something like that or whatever on the game, and I was kind of like, oh, well... I thought the gameplay was the problem.
So here's the deal.
You know? This
reminds me so much of somebody saying, hey, guys, did you know that Capcom Fighting Evolution, half of its roster is going to be DLC only? And I'm like, oh, no, that's terrible. But it's for Capcom Fighting Evolution. So who cares?
Yup. The game is not super great.
Is it coming out in
moment.
March? When's it coming out?
That's the start of the article. May 31st.
Something. May 31st and June 5th. That's
May 31st in Japan and Asia, June 5th in North America.
And like I personally I don't know what Ruby still really is. And I don't have a lot of love for BlazBlue characters, 1 or 2. And what's the other thing?
Under Night and Birth?
And I don't sure.
Persona.
Yeah.
Yeah, Persona's in here as well?
Persona 4 Arena.
So there's 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not interested in this game.
Yeah, it's like Arc System Works said, all right, we're going to have 2 projects. One's going to be DBZ with the most wide mass appeal of any fighting game of all time.
And of almost any anime, you could say.
And then the other one's going to be all the weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
If it's Rooster Teeth, why couldn't we have red versus blue characters?
Oh, yeah, get Sarge in there? Yeah.
Get Griff. There's Griff Ball mode.
Across those 4 properties, there's maybe 4 characters that I care about.
And who knows if they'll even make it in.
Exactly. Well, one of them is in. Gordo is there, and Gordo's
that's cool.
He's right there. We're looking at
But is Akihiko going to be in? Who knows?
Probably in those question marks, maybe. But maybe not. Right? Merkava? Kanji?
I don't know.
Well, with 20 other slots, certainly one of those, yeah.
Possibly, right?
Make sure to buy the game early so that you can hope for your character to come out as DLC.
But wait, isn't there also there's that Ruby Punch Girl that like everyone was telling me about, so that might be cool too, but I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway.
We don't know yet.
Yeah. That's a crock of shit.
It's the same crock of shit you're used to,
but in a shittier bowl.
Just presented in the worst possible way.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Usually the crock of shit is
it's plated. There's someone plating in the back.
Well, it's plated, but it's also they bring out a little bowl and they ask you to eat the little bowl of shit. And when you're finished, they bring you the second plate.
Little bowl,
right? But this one, they just took all of it and just put it in a bucket. It's just big shit bucket and said eat the whole bucket. And you went. I could have eaten the little bowl and then maybe forced myself to eat the plate, but this big bucket looks like too much to eat.
DBFZ was the bucket. This is a trough.
I don't think DBFZ's that bad.
It was 11.
I thought it was 8.
8. You're right. It was 8. Yeah. It was, and
it's all characters it's all going to be characters.
Like Injustice has more than 8 now.
But it was also the problem of you jump on the fucking digital versions and then you see the like 100 and X amount of dollars.
Yeah, but that's because of the stupid anime music.
Oh my god, really? So there's that stuff too that kind of hurts. Is when you're just like, here's the version that's $130 or whatever.
I can easily blame Toei for that.
It doesn't have Rock the Dragon.
No, it doesn't.
Dragon Ball Z.
But it might have.
I made sure to tell Cranky, you better fucking put Rock the Dragon on the Fisticuffs intro.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's what I feel like. This is the trough. Like this is fucking splaying it out because 20 is more than we've ever seen.
Like, in my opinion, it's
half the cast.
This now ties Cross Tekken for the worst DLC rollout. Because Cross Tekken's wasn't 20, but they were all done.
Yeah, and it hurt that game's like entirety.
And you could fucking hack them out and use them.
Thankfully, like with Cross Tekken, these are all crossover games that don't matter.
You're right.
That aren't really affecting the bottom line. Because they were done because you know what? You pulled those models from a game that exists.
Yes, you did.
So why wouldn't those models be done? This is a
they're done and it's bad. Oh no.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So anyway, moving along.
Yeah.